Hello and welcome everyone to our last session of Turn Digi, the online marketing conference that promotes entrepreneurs, rising talent, and we have a diverse range of speakers and also international speakers because we have speakers dialing in from 5 different countries across 3 continents. I'm SEO Joe Blogs, and I put on this event to support a lot of companies, mainly freelancers and self-employed, especially during this pandemic, to provide a platform to promote themselves. So today we have Joelle dialing in from Canada. We have Cheryl in North London and Chris in East London, all sharing their tips. And I'm dialing in from Barcelona. So it is an international session today. So Joelle's going to be talking about boosting productivity, product discovery, for small business companies. Cheryl's going to be talking about how she built her agency Wagada and made company culture the center of the organization. And she's now got an award-winning and thriving agency. And Chris is going to be talking and sharing his tips about how to automate. Basically, automate or die trying, which I quite like that title, Chris. Very catchy. So without further ado, I'm going to pass over to Joelle, who's going to share her tips. I'll remove mine from the screen and add yours, Joelle.
Perfect. There we go. All right, can everybody see my screen?
Yes, we can all see.
Okay,
so
great.
If everyone has any questions for Joelle or our speakers, please drop them in the chat and we will be answering them afterwards. Over to you, Joelle.
So hi, everyone. I'm Joelle Irvin. I'm from Montreal, Canada, and I'm here to talk to you today about boosting product discovery for small businesses. I'm going to start by telling you a little bit about myself. So I have over 13 years experience both on the agency and brand side. I build winning growth strategies for B2B, B2C, and e-commerce brands through the right combination of insight, content, and technology. I've currently been speaking at several industry conferences about content strategy, social commerce, visual search, and image optimization. And I love spending as much time as possible outside, whether it be absolutely beautiful or if it's raining or snowing, it doesn't matter to me. And let's just say that that grew exponentially since March. So if you're a small business, I'm sure your life and your business have completely flipped upside down over the last few months. And I thought I would take some time to share some opportunities so that you can compete with some brands and businesses that have been doing it for years. This may be new to you, this may not be new to you, but you want to increase discovery. So let's get to it. I'm going to share 5 opportunities from the knowledge panel, optimizing images, creating and sharing more video, Google shopping opportunities, and other platforms and social commerce. So the first opportunity is claiming your knowledge panel. Many brands aren't taking advantage of this. If there's a knowledge panel for your entity or brand, you can claim it. What this does is helps the search engines understand how your brand and products are connected to each other and how they're connected across all marketplaces. And it also helps your users and customers find what they need to find when they need to find it. If your brand does not have a knowledge panel, one of the first things or one of the precursors to a knowledge panel is a Wikipedia page. I highly suggest not creating your own Wikipedia page. It will get deleted. It needs to be created by an unbiased Wikipedia editor. So my advice would be to share relevant and newsworthy content with reputable third-party sites, because that will help create a Wikipedia page when the time comes. Also, it's worth looking at local SEO. And I know that a few of our speakers earlier today spoke about Google My Business and local SEO. They just recently released some new messaging features, which could also help brick and mortar shops. So that's pretty cool. Opportunity number 2, optimize images. Images play a huge part in product discovery and in search in general. If you look at Mozcast, you'll see that almost 30% of SERPs come from image results. And if you look at the other SERP features, you will see that a lot of them contain image and video as well. So this is a huge thing. But how do you optimize images? Well, on-page SEO is extremely important for accessibility and to help your users understand your content. From file names, alt text, title tags, meta descriptions, captions, and URLs, you always should think of your users first. Sure, keywords are important, but you need to help them understand what's on the page, and it also helps search engines understand your content. Product images should be on brand. Make sure that when your users see an image, that they know it's yours. Product images should be clutter-free. They should have a clear focal point, and products should be in the foreground. Provide context around your images. So on your product pages, make sure that everything makes sense together and it's cohesive. Images should be high quality, but always balance size and quality to make sure you're not weighing your pages and your site down. And include multiple angles of your products so that your customers can make the best purchase decisions. And if your images aren't adding any value, remove them. They're just adding weight and clutter for nothing. Number 3, more video. Video is super important at every stage of the shopper journey, whether it be from understanding the product or service, to understanding how to use it, to seeing it being used in everyday life, or comparing it with other products and services. But how do you do this, especially if you're a small business? Well, in terms of understanding what your customers are looking for in terms of videos, I would do a search for your product with video reviews and see what people also ask in the little people also ask box. And then if you don't have those resources or budget to create video, ask your customers to create review videos. And you can use these videos on your product pages along with the reviews. And try it with a few products first, test it, see if it adds value. And if it does, then build it out to other subsets of your products. Number 4, Google Shopping. So Google recently announced that they're offering free Google Shopping listings in the US and soon to the rest of the world. This is a huge opportunity to be discovered. And right now, if you've gone to Google Shopping, you will see that not many people or brands are taking advantage of this. I did a branded search for Warby Parker frames and got Ray-Ban results. So if you don't take advantage of this, your competition will. It's definitely something I would check out. So in terms of how to implement this, you need to check out the guidelines, make sure it makes sense for your product, create and upload your feed to the Google Merchant Center. Make sure that your data is always up to date from your, whether or not your products are in stock, if you have a current sale, if you offer free delivery. These are all super important things. And use enhanced listings if they're available in your area. Number 5, other platforms and social commerce. So I had a question recently at another talk where someone asked me, what would be better, creating my own site with Shopify or using Facebook shops? And my answer will always be to create your own site first and then layer on other marketplaces to increase discovery and opportunities for increased sales. It's always best to own your own data and your own space before branching out. So both Instagram and Pinterest have really amazing opportunities for this. If your audience is on there already, I would highly recommend syncing your database. But that's not how people find content and products on those platforms. You need to make sure that you adapt and create a content strategy that appeals to your audience for those specific channels. So make sure to be real be authentic, show who you really are and your personality. Post lifestyle content so your customers can see your products in real life and how they're used. Entertain and inspire and educate them. After all, that's what social media is for. Create video, and going live like this is really engaging, and it also helps you get in those discovery feeds, explore tabs, for example. And if you don't have the budget or resources, leverage TikTok for creating video. Whether you create it or your audience creates it, you can share it in Google Stories. So I just shared a lot of info in a very short period of time. What I would suggest is start with one idea and test it, adapt it from your results of your test, and then move on and add on more. It's always important to see what works and look at your data to make sure you're doing the right thing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming, and thank you, Joe, for having me on. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Great, thanks very much, Joelle. We just have actually a question from someone about Pinterest. What about that in terms of as a platform for small businesses?
So I think Pinterest is a great platform, especially for people who are planning for the future. It's also good for product discovery for smaller brands. The users on the platform are more open to learning about newer or different products. So I would definitely highly recommend it.
And what about, when choosing that platform for e-commerce, what would you actually focus on? So Simon's asking, is it searchability or ease of use and fulfillment?
I would say all of the above. I think what's important is actually one of the things you can do if you are a brand and you want to sell on the platform. I would look into getting verified as the Pinterest merchant program. I think that's what it's called. And it actually, they vet you as a brand, and then they provide more discoverability opportunities for you. It's really great.
Okay, and you mentioned as well about the Google Shopping. Like I started SEO when that was actually free.
Yeah.
So all those years ago. And so are they offering this shopping in Canada as well, or when you say America and including North America?
So right now it's in the US only, but they say that it'll be rolled out to the rest of the world this year. I think that they're obviously trying to compete with Amazon and Etsy and everyone else. But I would get on board with that as soon as possible to take advantage of it before everyone else is on there.
So a question about that for the feed. So we used to have to get a feed from the company that we used to work for. Is that the same thing for now? You just need to get an export of like their products.
Yeah.
And then, okay. Can you get that from Shopify? Can you export that?
Yeah, so there are integrations with almost every platform. I would say that almost every platform is trying to make it as easy as possible to sync products and feeds, because they know right now, one, there's an opportunity for themselves to get more brands on their platforms, but two, also to help the small businesses thrive right now, because it's so urgent.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And where can we see your slides? Will you be sharing them on Twitter and LinkedIn?
Yes, I will share them everywhere, and they'll be on SlideShare as well.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you very much. I'll definitely be looking at for Google Shopping, especially.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks so much for having me.
No problem. Thank you very much. We're going to now pass over to Cheryl, who's UK Search Awards winner 2018 for her agency Wagoda. And she's going to talk about the importance of company culture. I'm really pleased that she's going to be addressing this, because I think it's something that is not always looked at. A lot of people sort of brush it off and don't really place the time on putting together a culture and making sure that they have happy staff. But as Cheryl will say, happy staff is happy clients, which is happy agency. But I'll leave that to Cheryl to go into. So if you'd like to share your screen when you're ready.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Jo. Brilliant. So hi everybody, thanks for coming along today. So Waggadah is a digital marketing agency, and we are based in a lovely old mill just in St Albans, just north of London. So as Jo was saying, we've won numerous awards for our work, including the Search Award in 2018, as well as awards for our workplace well-being and the flexible working arrangements that we offer our staff. But actually, I think the team are most proud of the fact that they are twice winners of the St Albans Walking Pancake Race. So you can see there, that's a picture of this year's pancake race. They were very excited to be winning again. We have done it for many years, and last year was the first year that we won. So it's all good fun. So Jo asked me to come along today to talk a little bit about my business journey and how I've grown the business from just me working at my kitchen table to a thriving digital agency with 14 staff. So I recently handed over the MD role to my commercial director, and I became the CEO, which was really to kind of reflect the more strategic role that I've taken with the company and the more hands-on that the commercial director had become. So when I set the business up, one of the key features that I really wanted to achieve was a very strong business culture. And I think this comes from the fact that I've never really had a great boss or worked for anyone who's inspired me or even worked in what I would consider to be a positive environment. This may be because I am a terrible employee, which is quite possible. I've never actually been a fan of authority, so I probably wasn't a great employee. But actually being an employee of these terrible bosses has made me acutely aware of how demotivating it is. So I've had bosses that don't get me at all, that doubt me, that hate everybody. I've had bosses that throw coffee across the room at people that they don't like. Luckily, it wasn't me. I've had bosses that are quite bullying and quite intimidating. So somehow in my career, I've never really had a boss who I felt has really inspired me or has really taught me anything that I thought was useful. Not that I know everything at all, but I just feel like in many organizations, there's a lot of focus on teaching people the soft skills, the technical skills, but not so much about the soft skills. So, and I think it's tantamount to giving up on people that may just need a little bit of extra support. So when I took on my first employee, I was really keen to understand how I could create a positive and flexible working environment where the team could feel really embraced and feel really safe to admit failure or admit they didn't know something or if they'd made a mistake. And I can't say that I've always got that right, but I think we're constantly making improvements and questioning what we're doing in order to get better at it. So I set the business up back in 2011 after I had my second child. So I've been working in London for an agency for a few years. And those of you that live in the UK will know that childcare is massively expensive, particularly where we are, just outside London. So I worked out that with 2 children in childcare and the train fare to pay into London, I would actually be shedding out £2,500 just for the privilege of going to work. So, which pretty much meant that I wouldn't really be earning anything at all. So I really didn't love my job that much. So I needed financially to work, but I wanted to be working closer to home to be there for my little monkeys. So I made a plan to see if I could get some freelance work and see if I could work from home. And I had these lovely visions of me working in coffee shops and, you know, pottering around the house. But the reality was that we got busy very, very quickly. And it wasn't long before I started to have to think about taking on staff and getting an office, etc. So I set about creating a workplace that I would really want to work in and one that I would want to be a client of. And some of the key things that I wanted to achieve was that I wanted us to form a really close relationship with our clients and really get to know them on a personal level, because I very much recognize that people buy people. So, and also quite interestingly, I've always considered myself to be a terrible salesperson, and I still do most of the business development today. So I kind of approach the business development aspect through networking and through forming really long-term relationships with people. And I pretty much ended up building the entire business through networking and through these relationships. And we still get most of our leads through referral and through recommendation, which does make life a lot easier when you're going for that pitch and you're going to a pitch where you've been recommended by someone else. It makes it a lot easier to get that work than if you're just one of many companies, you know, that they don't know anything about that's coming along to pitch. So human became one of our core values, and it does reflect very much the way that we treat our staff, but also our clients. We very much treat people how we ourselves would want to be treated. And personal development and training became very much the heart of the business and, you know, a key part of everything that we do. So whether that is counselling for staff members that are struggling with perfectionism or the more technical side of what we do. So we currently spend 5% of our turnover on the training and the tools that the team need in order to be able to progress and to very much excel at what they do. And interestingly, we've had staff that have come along sometimes who haven't been that keen on doing any training. And I think it does ring alarm bells with me, because either they think they know it all already, or very much it seems that they're not planning on hanging around for very long if they're not interested in doing any training. So a few years ago, we formalized our values. So as I mentioned before, one of our values is human, and that very much reflects, you know, how we interact with our staff, but also our clients. You know, we treat people with compassion on a human level. You know, we try to relate to those people. Our second value is about being passionate. And this is about being passionate for digital marketing, passionate for what you do, passionate for the success of our clients and for our clients' businesses. And very much I want the team to feel excited when they're getting successes for our clients. I want them to feel that passion, to demonstrate that, you know, that excitement to clients themselves who are obviously very passionate about their own businesses. So our third value is flexible. So because of my motivations when I set the business up, because I wanted to be there for my children, flexible working has always been a really key part of Waggadah. So where St Albans is, it's very much, there's lots of families that live here. It's just outside of London. So there's lots of highly skilled parents that are looking for flexible roles. But actually, you know, flexible working isn't just for parents. There's lots of people that want to work flexibly. They might want to go to the gym. They might want to do volunteering. So lots of the team have taken up the opportunity to work flexible hours. And last year we brought in a 4-day working week, which works for the last week of the month. And the staff have loved that. So they have effectively gained an extra day, you know, an extra day's holiday every single month. And what we've noticed from that is that their billable hours have gone up quite considerably in that last week of the month, because they've got this extra day off to look forward to. And I think it's really lovely, because when you have your holiday allowance and you take your holiday, but I think when you take a day's holiday, there's an enormous pressure to do something with that day, to go away for the weekend, to go out for the day. Whereas I think what a lot of them do when they're getting their day for their 4-day week is that they might stay in bed really late, or they might just sit around and, you know, watch a box set, or they might go to the hairdressers. And I think it's proper relaxation time, I think, when you're not putting that pressure on yourself to actually go and do something. And our last value is honest, which may seem a little bit pointless, because of course we're honest from a client's perspective. We want to come across as honest, but actually it goes much further than that. You know, it's about being honest to ourselves and to each other. We're honest about what we're good at, what we're not good at, about the mistakes that we've made. And I think we need to develop, you know, honest and open relationships in-house before we can go about demonstrating that value externally. So when I'm looking for staff, this is the sort of qualities that I'm looking for. So they've got to be really passionate about what they do. They've got to be keen to learn. They've got to want to do a fantastic job for clients. They've got to want to kind of, you know, experiment and try different things out, take a little bit of a risk, but make decisions based on data rather than just making things up. They've got to be keen to give it a go, you know, but very much have a strong attention to detail and be quite creative. So, you know, I think happy staff, happy clients is very much the crux of everything that I wanted to achieve in the business. You know, if you can make your staff happy and feel safe, then I think your clients will sense that, and I think they'll respond positively. So we need to offer the right training and the right opportunities in the right environment. So Perkbox did a survey a couple of years ago looking at the top 10 ingredients for a positive workplace. And I've taken this list and thought this is very much what I'm looking to achieve in my business, about the atmosphere being very encouraging, about valuing employees just as much as profit, taking everyone's opinion into account. So no matter what their role is, very much empowering them to input into the business and what we do. Understanding the team as bosses, understanding them and their needs and what they might be feeling, what might be going on for them outside of work, being trusted, and then also trusting others. I think one thing we haven't quite got right yet is about the space to be creative and reflective. I think in a busy agency, it's always quite hard to put some time aside for that, but we're still working on that. And then obviously lack of gossip and lack of politics. And that's one thing that, the team is very, very strong on. When we're interviewing people, we always make sure we're taking on people that are going to carry that value forward, because I think, that's really, really important for promoting a positive environment in the workplace. So I thought I'd run through some of my philosophies on how I run the business. So it's in order to ensure that we've created a sort of a positive and a transparent working environment. So first one is about the team not needing to sell themselves. And I think in many organizations, you've kind of got to draw the attention of your boss in order to get noticed. You kind of got to show off what you've done. And this is something that I've always been pretty terrible at. I'm very much one of those people that works very hard in a corner. I don't want to really disturb my boss. I don't want to shout about my successes. And I've noticed that some of my team members that have the same qualities, have the same traits, they're some of my best staff, because really you want people that just get on with the work and don't spend their time trying to impress the boss. But in some organizations, if you don't spend time impressing the boss, then you won't get noticed and you won't get promoted. So, I think for me, I don't want or need the team to try and draw attention to themselves. I'll go out myself and find examples of where they've excelled. I'll give them opportunities to put themselves at center stage and demonstrate what they can do. So it might be training other people. It might be doing a big, team training session. It might be creating a video for everybody else. I really like to reward those people that, are not political and work hard and don't need to kind of create a song and dance about it. We'll find out very much what they're good at, and we'll channel the staff down the route of the things that they excel at. So one of the other examples of philosophies that we have is about embracing failure. So embracing failure is a key part of life at Waggadah, and owning up to a failure is rewarded by getting a bottle of Prosecco. So it's just a way we kind of celebrate failure, but it is just the cheap stuff. We reserve the expensive stuff for when you do something good. But without failure, we can't learn, we can't develop, we can't grow. It's really important, I think, particularly as an SEO agency, that you've got to keep trying and testing. You've got to see what works and see what doesn't work. And if you don't fail, you'll never work out, exactly what is working for you. So, I get quite excited. I think I get on everyone's nerves because I get quite excited when I realize we've done something wrong, because I think it takes us one step closer to finding a solution that actually works. So we always encourage the team to step out of their comfort zones. So everyone in the team is encouraged to do that and experience new things. There might be certain things that terrify us, and we'll help support the team in order to conquer that fear by, trying to do the things that they're not yet good at or things that they could improve at. So we try to create a safe environment that allows staff to kind of grow and develop and to kind of practice things like their presentation skills, where they can try out different techniques, try different research, and feel this sort of environment where they can, they can make a mistake, they can learn and they can grow and, face some of their fears. And the last one is about fun and team spirit. So, this is really key, I think. I want to have fun. Everyone wants to have fun. So we're always looking for different ways that we can have fun. So we've got all the bean bags and we've got the table tennis table, but I think we're all a bit over that. So every year we have a pumpkin carving competition at Halloween, and we really love to celebrate the most obscure national days. We always go in for the pancake race in St Albans. That's always really good fun. And all this sort of stuff provides really good content that allows us to kind of demonstrate our employer brand on social media. So the more we can show people that we're having fun, the more that we can kind of attract really strong staff to come and work for the company and attract more kind of speculative applications, so that we're not going out looking for potential staff, is that they're coming straight to us. And that's it. So feel free to contact me on Twitter if you have any questions or would like to throw any other suggestions in the mix for how you do things in your agency.
Thank you very much, Cheryl. Yes, I like that you've put your values and obviously being human at the center of your company. So we have a question from Francesco. It says, amazing agency, what's your plan post-COVID? Are you still going to keep an office or totally work from home, or 50-50?
Well, I've come back to the office yesterday, actually. So we definitely would like to keep an office. I think having an office is really key to carry on the kind of cultural things that we've been doing up till now. I think without an office, it would be quite tricky to do some of the fun activities that we do. But I definitely think there'll be more flexibility for people that want to work from home. We already have people that work from home quite a lot, either half the week or, coming in and out of the office. So I definitely think, working from home will be an option. But I think having an office so we can get the team together and have some fun together is going to be really important.
Good. Well, it's good that you will have that flexibility anyway. I was doing a remote working survey. I will share in the chat, just asking people resources that they have saved. This is basically more for people that are commuting into offices, going all the way into the office. Obviously, St. Albans, you've had this outside of London, so a lot of people that are working there aren't doing a massive commute in theory. But yeah, I really like those great culture things national days that you're doing, like pumpkin carving or that pancake day. So thank you very much, Cheryl. I've known Cheryl since she started coming to actually Search London. So that was 2011 when you set up your business, and I started Search London in 2011. So maybe it was about similar sort of time. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it probably was. Yeah.
Simon has, so this is our last question, and then we'll go over to Chris. So firms have not allowed working from home in the past because of trust. Lockdown has changed this. Do you think it's for the better?
Oh, definitely. I find that my staff that work from home definitely work harder, because I think there is an element of presenteeism when you go into the office. You've turned up, you're there, job done. Whereas if you're working from home, you've really got to show that you've done something with your day. So absolutely, I think people have realized that people work really hard from home and they make sure they get their work done.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've worked from home for a long time. And I also like the fact that you said, or you just admitted really, that you've never had good bosses. So I've had some good ones, but I've also had some really rubbish ones. Not in the previous years. They've been very good. And I'm just surprised at how bad some people treat their staff. So it's really fantastic to see and positive to see, like, someone that's had a bad experience has then created a great company workplace. I think I once heard the expression, people don't leave jobs, they just leave bad managers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very true.
Well, thank you very much, Cheryl, for all your insights. And we're going to finish off Turn Digi with Chris, who is going to be talking to us about automate the monotonous or die trying. So if you want to share your screen, Chris,
yeah,
that would be great. Oh, there we go. And yes, we're going to have, if you have any questions, please leave them in the chat. We've got a few people joining us for the end of the last session. If you're enjoying the video, like our nice little video here and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So I'll pass over to Chris, who is not only going to talk about this, but he's also one of the founders of the Corona Arms. They're having a pub tomorrow evening. Unfortunately, I'll be in La France. I'm going to visit my parents, but it looks like it's a great pub quiz tomorrow. Over to Chris.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Joe. Cheryl, having run an agency for quite a few years, I can completely and utterly agree with almost everything you said. However, I wasn't a good boss. So I think most of the staff that have ever worked with me will agree with that one. So a couple of apologies first off. First of all, I've got one hand and normally I'm quite a lot more sort of animated. Had a clavicle operation and therefore also sorry for the awful shirt I have to wear because it's one of the few things I can put on and off without moving my shoulders. So forgive me for that. So I'm going to talk about automation, not specifically automation of SEO, but automation of life in general. Now more than ever, this is proven to be really helpful, to be perfectly honest. So first off, for those who don't know me, that's me. I paid a lot of money for that photo and I really love using it. So I've founded and run a few different businesses in the industry. Just launched something new recently, which kind of fits in the gap between agencies and consultants. That bit, I forgot that was there. So literally a new proposition like that. I made that yesterday and it launched today. So anyway, I absolutely love snowboarding and all things that will hurt me. Clavicle problem is literally created by me doing stupid stuff. And I'm really quite lazy, if I'm honest. And this is part and parcel of why I spend probably about 10 hours building a thing to automate something to save me 15 hours over the course of an entire year. So I'm quite lazy and I like to see things being done for me. So the world's gone a bit mad, and I'm not talking about COVID. I'm not going to mention that one. What I'm talking about here is that we've just got so many tools for everything we do. There's how many? I was speaking to a couple of agency owners this week, and I think one of them's got like 15 different tools that they're paying for because they all do different things. You get their data in different ways and things like that. And it's just a lot to use. And then, you know, how many spreadsheets, how many tabs do you have in your spreadsheets half the time? Google Sheets or Excel, and how many tabs do you have open in your browser in a normal day? It's just, there's just too much in the ether around you. And then how many hours do you spend really doing things that literally you do the same time every month or every week or every day that is pretty much the exact same thing? The context switching with all of that is a bit of a pain in the butt. Basically, every time you're jumping from one small thing to another small thing, it's taking you much longer than it would do to just do lots of that same thing in one go. Which gets me to the sort of the feeling that if you're doing the same thing so frequently, you should just automate it as best as you can. So one of my favorite quotes ever, because, well, first of all, he's a multiple billionaire, and if I'm nice to him, he won't put a chip in me. But it's basically, it fits me. You choose a lazy person to do a hard job because they'll find the easier way to do it. And if you can find the easier way to do something which actually produces decent results, why the heck wouldn't you just keep doing it that way? It just makes a lot of sense. So context switching is one thing that's a good reason for automation. However, if you automate stuff, not to use Step Brothers reference too, obviously, but you have so much more room for activities. If you have automated repetitive tasks running in the background in an evening when you're not at your desk, then you have literally more space on your machine at the time during the day to do the thinking part of your job. If you're spending a lot of time doing things and not thinking, then you're probably making a mistake in terms of what you could automate. Wasted time for your brain, you could be doing something else with. There's so many times where I've, and again, probably because I'm lazy, I'll set something up and then I'll go for a long walk. And then when I'm on that walk, I'm thinking about the outcomes of whatever that process might be. And that's usually when the best ideas come to me. But when you're not doing the same repetitive task that is then therefore a bit error prone, you're more likely to see something in a different way or run through a different idea a few different times. And sometimes you might find that little golden nugget of opportunity there. So because you're automating something which is, even if it's like 95% perfect, you're risking you personally making an error that you won't spot. So if you always know there's a tiny error in the reporting of something or whatever it might be, then at least you know to look for it. But once it's set up and it's running, 99.999 times out of 100, it's going to be the same outcome, just a different report or a different sheet or something like that. And more thinking times means more smarter doing times. Wow, that sounded really Donald Trumpy. So more thinking means smarter doing. So if you spend more time thinking about a task or thinking about a project or thinking about the implementation or the different outcomes that can come around all of these things, then you're more likely to have you spend less time doing that task, or the outcome of that task will be much better. And then obviously, basically, you're a hacker at that point, right? So you've automated half your life, and your fridge brings you milk to you in the morning and things like that, and you know the lights turn off when the dog goes to bed and stuff like that, and your Hoover's going around and your screaming frogs crawling and everything's great. So you're a hacker, and it feels pretty good. So I'm going to go through a few kind of lazy time savers that I use, and they're all really easy. None of them need any kind of programming or anything. It's just literally hooking things up together. If you really want to really automate the monotonous stuff, then start talking to anyone who knows Python, and start learning that for literally anything that you could do 100 times in a row. You should probably be trying to automate that way. So I've bought an AWS server which has apps that run in the background for me. A little tip: if you want to get an AWS server and you don't want to pay for it for a while, sign up as a developer, and then when they send you a questionnaire, fill in the questionnaire to say you're building proofs of concepts, and they give you like $300 credit, which for a basic machine is like 9 months worth of free. So good tip. By the way, because I've got a bad arm, I can't make the arrows proper, so I just drew them. So nice sparkly colors there. So on the AWS server, I've got Sightbulb and then Screaming Frog all scheduled for all of our clients a couple of times a month. As they run their schedule, they save into Google Drive, and therefore also all the sheets go into all of the outputs of sheets for various different aspects of the crawl. Lots of different sheets all interlinking between each other, which then produce whatever the data is we need for reporting, which then shoots into Google Data Studio for me. That then means I've got everything I need every month automatically there. There's no having to set up crawls or reset up crawls. I've got, for example, for one client, 4 different crawls with different configurations to bring different things out, and it all outputs into Data Studio, which then connects to the client's reporting. So, you know, typical kind of sort of site health reporting and things like that. I don't know if anyone knows of Little Warden. Hopefully you do. If you don't, absolutely fantastic. Dom, who is incredible in many ways, and his wife created this. It effectively checks all of these things. I won't go through them all because that literally is tedious. But these checks are on a URL level or a domain level for some of the things like expiration checks. But effectively, every single day, several times a day, you can check all of these things, and more is coming. Extra special lazy hack. Dom created a Google Sheets tab, which you effectively you can add, remove, change checks within seconds rather than having to log in. Then if you connect Google Sheets with Zapier, everything is fantastic, because Little Warden will output into Zapier when something goes wrong, or an alert comes up, which goes into Google Sheets, or you make a Google Sheets change and it goes into Zapier, and then you get some information in Slack or something along those lines that the change has been accepted. New thing, caveat, this is my new thing. So if you ever wanted to monitor the actual real estate of the search results rather than just the positions of ads or organic positions, then you can now effectively do that in a sort of a news style reporting measure like columns and inches. The reason that we use this actually is because we can effectively automate the integration of different channels by knowing exactly how much space on a search results page you own or you don't own or is available for certain queries. You can then make much more informed decisions. We're working on lots of different integrations as well, so that then you can pop that out into Zapier or into Google Sheets or into Google Data Studio, or create scripts that mean that, I don't know, at this point when the search is run, bids modify by this based on whatever rules and parameters you set. Don't need to write that down. I've got a tweet going out later, but if you want 15% off for the first 3 months, then you've got it. I've meant to change that, sorry. That says strategy if you can't read my handwriting. PowerPoint is really hard with one hand because there's lots of clicking and stuff. So anyway, one of the largest time savers that I use is mostly based on the reporting, and every client that we have has a bespoke report, literally reporting specific things that they want to see, plus then the obvious metrics. So once you've done the strategy, you know kind of what channels you need to be reporting from, and you know what integrations you might need, where that data is going to all come from. Then you can set up your automated report, so you can set up the feeds that go through these things. From Search Console, from Search Console sheets, Google Ads, Analytics, Systrix, and SEMrush, everything piles into Data Studio through their integrations, whether they're APIs or through Supermetrics. Then once Data Studio has been updated, because the changes have happened based on the data that's been put in, it shoots into Zapier for me. Zapier creates a new line in a Google Sheet with a date that is 3 days from that point, which then creates an any.do task for me to go in, review the report, and then create some commentary and annotations around the report. That all happens behind the scenes. So literally yesterday morning, my task list went from 0 to 15 or so, and I had the link to the Data Studio report that then I just clicked, and once I'd done it, the task went away. There we go. So any emails that I get that follow certain parameters, whether they say anything about links, immediately just goes to the bin. But anything that's about new prospecting, anything about specific clients, they go through Zapier into a Google Sheet, into a specific tab. Because I've then got that, Zapier then connects the sheet to AnyDo, which creates a task for me to check a specific thing, and then AnyDo will create a calendar task for me, so that then anyone who's got access to my calendar before booking any meetings or calls has got access to that, and they can see what's on my task list. Anyone booking a call through Calendly, through email signatures, or on websites and stuff, creates a calendar task, and then that integrates again through Zapier into AnyDo, which basically means that I know exactly what I've got to do at all times, because otherwise I would be probably out breaking more bones at this rate in my life. So lazy is good. That's my quote, and I really want that to be more famous. So lazy is good. I don't think lazy in the sense of doing nothing is good, but lazy is good in the sense of looking for the simplest and least frictionful way of getting anything done. Tomorrow night at the Corona Arms, Vicky is running a pub quiz, and contrary to the picture, she does have feet. I'm just, again, I chopped them off by accident. So that was totally by mistake. Any questions? I'm happy to go through. Basically, be lazy.
Thanks, Chris. I do really like what you're saying about integrating with Google Data Studio. So what would you think? What's the easiest way, the laziest way, to learn about this integration to Google Data Studio? Because as you said, we all have lots of tools. How can we get all into one place?
I think one of the best parts about Data Studio is you can almost pull anything from anywhere depending on what that data is and where it comes from. So, for example, anything in the Google product list pretty much pulls through very easily. If you don't want to learn how to create and set up all of the reporting tools in Google Sheets with Supermetrics have got a Data Studio version, which is literally just a connector which can connect things like your SEMrush API, specific tools like AdRoll and all that sort of stuff. And if worst comes to the worst, as long as you download the same CSV file once a month and then connect it to Google Data Studio, in the same format, then you've got it the same way around. But it really does depend specifically on what you want. If there's a tool that has a connector, then they'll have the documentation, and it's within their interests to make it as simple as possible.
Okay, good. All right. Well, Andy was saying, Chris, where have you been all my life? Great stuff. Thank you. And Simon, awesome. I need to do more of this. Well, thank you very much to our speakers, Joelle, Chris, and Cheryl. I will be looking into more about doing things through Google's Data Studio. That is something that I want to be doing. I just wanted to say a big thank you to all of the speakers that were part of our presentation today. Oh, yes, you can see my slide. Okay, that are part of our presentation today. We had 12 speakers in total who committed to the event, and 9 of them are self-employed or entrepreneurs. And, it was great to have everyone on board of our 3rd Turn Digi event. I also wanted to say thank you to Chunkable. So this is Nicola Carey. She was working at Majestic for a number of years in marketing. She set up her own business, and she provided the design for PowerPoint. She is running her own company, called Chunkable, adding weight to your brand. I quite like that. And also you can find her on chunkable.co.uk. I wanted to say thanks to my sister Ruth for doing the artwork. I did invite her to come today, but she's not able to come. Hopefully she can be in our next Turn Digi event. She's over in Melbourne, Australia. So she's done the artwork for Turn Digi and also Tea Time SEO at Authoritas. She works, as I said, in Melbourne as a digital marketing consultant, so working in SEO, social, and email marketing. And also she's a wine connoisseur. So if anybody wants some virtual wine tastings, I think they're all in fashion now, virtual wine tasting. Why not get someone from Melbourne? Actually, Australian wine is cheaper in the UK than it is in Australia itself. So you'd get some good deals. Oh, Chris, yes, she can. Today she's not here, but I can definitely put you in touch. And she also advises clients on seller investing. Believe it or not, a lot of people do invest in their sellers. She tried to get my dad to do it, and then he bought rubbish wine, so she told him off, and now he buys good stuff. So so thanks very much to Ruth. You can contact her at developyourpalette.com over in Australia. There she is. Give cheers to Ruth. And there's a couple of photos of us when we were back in Australia a year and a half ago, Christmas on the beach. So thanks very much. These are all the speakers that took part in Turn Digi today. I will be sending around a post-event email with the slides and a link to obviously the videos, but some of the speakers will be showing their slides before. And there's a lot of still great events going on, like Chris said about the Corona Arms tomorrow. Do check it out. It's great that him and Jules and lots of people have been organizing it. It's a great way to get together and see everyone online until we can actually go and meet in person. And I also just sent a link about remote working in the chat, about just trying to find out if people have saved resources. Again, this is based more on people that are making a massive commute to a Sydney, a London, a New York, trying to find the amount of time and money maybe they've saved on not just the travel, but maybe on extra bits and bobs like lunches and things. So thank you very much to all our speakers for joining today, and everyone for getting involved, the audience as well. It's been great. Lots of interaction here today, and I will be sending out, as I said, a post-event email, most realistically on Monday, as we'll be off to see the parents in France today. And yeah, look forward to seeing everyone soon. So big round of applause to our speakers and our audience. And I do hope, Chris, your clavicle gets better, because yes, 2 of my family members had that as well. It's a big pain in the bum or in the shoulder.